Let's make a copycat recipe together. This is a sandwich that I have had. It is called the Vermonter, and I am going to show you guys my copycat recipe for it. We are going to start out by making the Russian dressing that goes on the salad. So I squeezed half of a lemon into a little mason jar. And then I started cutting up the onion. We don't really need too much. So I just kind of made like little slits, and I did a really small dice here. And I just stuck the onion in the jar, and this is sweet relish. It is probably about a teaspoon worth that I put in. Next up is ketchup. I didn't really measure. I want to say it's probably about 1/4 cup. It doesn't really need to be exact measurements. Next up is Worcestershire sauce. This is probably about a teaspoon to a tablespoon. This is paprika. If you guys like McDonald's, this is what goes in their Big Mac sauce. And next up, we have light mayonnaise, but any kind of mayo will do here. And I have this neat mayo knife. I don't even know where I picked this up, but it's kind of cool because it's shaped exactly like the container. So it makes it easy to get everything out. And then I just combined everything really well. And I tasted it, and I like everything super sweet. You don't have to add sugar, but if you've watched any of my videos, you know I love sugar. So I added a little bit of sugar. It tastes more like commercial Russian dressing that you would buy in the supermarket if you add the sugar. And I put the dressing aside, and I started making up my sandwich at this point. So we're going to start with tomato. This tomato was actually huge. I started by cutting off the top, and I cored out that middle piece. And then when I went to slice it, I noticed it was kind of hard to get the slices. So what I did was I cut the tomato in half, and you always want to put your flat part down. So you see right here, I half it. Then I put the flat part down, and it made it much easier to slice. So I did some thin slices, and I set that aside. And I just needed enough for just my sandwich. I was actually thinking after I made this sandwich that this would be awesome to get a few loaves of Italian bread and make it like a party sandwich. Like if you had a gathering, you could probably cut them pretty small and put toothpicks and use this like to cater a party. So the next thing I did was I got a piece of lettuce, and I trimmed it to how I liked it. And I went back to the Russian dressing, and this is also to your taste. I put just enough to taste it. I didn't really want it smothered in the sauce. So I put it on the top, and I put it on the bottom of the sandwich. You could also use this Russian dressing on salads if you'd like. So I saved the rest for another day. And the next thing I did was add American cheese. This is honey maple chicken. You could use any kind of chicken, any kind of turkey, whatever is your favorite here. And after the chicken, I put some of that lettuce back on, and I added the tomatoes. After the tomatoes, I seasoned it with a little ground black pepper. Put the lid on. Here's how it's looking. So this would be a great make-ahead lunch for the week if you're busy or working. This could really be a dinner. We have sandwiches sometimes for dinner. And I just cut it in half. So like I said, if you bought like a whole bunch of Italian breads, you could cut it into little pieces like this to serve at a party and just put toothpicks in each piece. And we are all done here. Here we go, the Vermonter sandwich.